Hello everybody. So I had to add this onto the video because I neglected to make it in that last video, but I tacked it onto the end. That's pretty. I'm going to make that form that I talked about doing in the video where I'm going to make the form and the lid at the same time. This clay is, I just wedged up some fairly stiff clay, so this clay is actually a little stiff. Also a little short, you can see that it's kind of separating here. Did not wedge very easily, it was hard to wedge. But I'm going to make it work. Having problems because like I said, the clay is a little stiff and this little thing comes out pretty easily, so it wants to pull out, so I'm not able to put enough tension on this thing to really pull it up, which is definitely going to be a problem as I'm pulling it up and it's wiggling below me. It'd be less of an issue if the clay was softer and wanted to come up nice and easy, but it does not want to come up. Thought when I grabbed this lump of clay that it would work real well because I'd be able to keep it real stiff for a long time, but I don't want to leave it too stupidly thick. Hopefully it's softening up a little bit as I come up. Okay, so what I'm throwing right now is just kind of a tall cylinder, and then I'll do some shaping and I'll talk to you about what it is I'm talking about doing in terms of making a lidded pot. It is important that I leave the top fairly thick because I'm going to want to close this in later on. And if I make the top too thin, it's not going to want to close in on itself. I'm going to take this moment to get the water out of the bottom because I may not have much opportunity later on. I'm going to start applying some shape to this thing. I'm going to come out a little bit. I have a vase form at the moment. Alright, so now I'm going to start collaring this in. I'm trying to apply as much pressure in as many spots as I can as I do so. I don't want to be pushing in 2 spots because that's obviously not going to work. So I'm trying to apply pressure in as many spots as possible. As I collar it in, the clay gets thicker, so it gives me an opportunity to kind of pull a little bit towards the center. I'll remind you that I said that you need to leave the top fairly thick, because if you're trying to close this thing up and the top's too thin, it's not going to want to close in on itself because the clay needs to move into itself. Okay. Now I have a closed form. I'm even going to take a little bit to kind of squish that, try to make sure that I leave a good amount of clay across there. This looks like a canoptic jar, like a something that some Egyptian would be, or Egyptian's organs would be buried in. So now I've got air inside here, so I can manipulate it different. It manipulates differently than it would without the air. I can kind of think about what I want to do with the shape here. It's not going to collapse in on itself. I'm going to make, this is going to be the lid and this is going to be the jar. And some general cleanup here. I'm actually going to use this kind of sharpish edge on there to kind of figure out what I do with some of the shaping. I'm going to, since I've got such a solid form, I'm going to go ahead and remove a little off the bottom here. Okay, so I've got the jar and I've got the lid. Now, I made this out of a stick that I found in the other room because what I wanted was something about 1/4 of an inch thick, but I wanted it to have a nice, sharp, square edge here. It was round like this when I got it, when I found it and broke a piece off. So I used like a bench grinder to grind off some of it so that I've got a 90-degree angle here and here. I'm going to take this, I'm going to push it in like this. Actually, I'm not sure if that's what I really want to do. I don't think that's the shape I want to demo on this thing with. Okay. So I'm going to push in right here. Creating, the gentleman I saw doing these as demos didn't put air into it, but I'm going to, because I really feel like that back pressure of air is not making this thing do what I want it to do. But now that there's a path for the air to go through, I can be more controlling of the shape. I want you to imagine what I've done here, because I could, actually, you know what, never mind. Just end the video.